So here in Krita, we're going to have a look at how we can cut out a shape and give it an image mask, which means we can cut out and adjust that cutout non-destructively. So we're going to create a new image here, and we're going to create a square image of 1920 by 1920. So perfect for Instagram, Facebook, square images, and that type of thing. And then we're going to click Create. So now we're going to open up our image that we're going to cut out. So we'll go to File, Open, and we're going to open up this portrait of myself. So in here, what we want to do is essentially move this image into the other image. So we're going to go to Select and Select All, or Command or Control and A. Go to Edit and Copy, or Command or Control and C, and then we'll come to our new image and we're going to go to Edit and Paste. I can use the Move Layer tool on the left to move my image around. I can also use the Transform Layer tool to resize my image. You can see it's adjusting the proportions here, so I want to hold down Shift as I resize to keep it nice and in proportion. I'm just going to increase this until this sits nicely in the middle of the canvas. I want to be able to see the edges. So now I want to come to my selection tool. We're going to come across, we're going to use the polygon selection tool, and we can quickly move around and select our image here. So if I use Command and plus, I can zoom in, and I can also hold down the space bar and move around my image as well. I'm not too worried in this instance about getting this perfect. This is really just about exploring the fundamentals of cutting out the image. So we're going to come around. We're really looking for that nice, clean cut out of the face. Keep the headphones in there. And then again, hold down the space bar to move around. So I'm holding down and then just dragging that image around. And I can move in even further here if I want to really get the detail around the edge of those glasses. And then for the hair, we're not going to cover how to cut out hair perfectly in this example. We're just going to give a kind of nice, neat trim, but we'll mostly just move around, quickly getting a rough cutout of the hair here. And the nice thing about this way of cutting out is that we can always come back in and adjust our image later. So we'll keep moving around, and then when we get back to the beginning and that first shape, you can see it's going to create a circle around that first shape, and then when I click that, it's going to close it off. Now you can see I kind of messed up a little bit. I was pretty zoomed out at the start of my cutout here. If I hold down the Option key, I can actually come in here and remove sections from my cutout. So you can see I can hold down Option, come in and remove those sections. Now when we create the layer mask, we'll actually be able to come in and modify that as well at a later stage. So we'll tidy this up and then we'll leave the rest to be tidied up later. So I'm going to go to View and Zoom, Rotate and Mirror, and we'll go to Fit to View Height. And I'm going to right click here and go to Add and Add Transparency Mask. And what you'll see below my image here is this little black and white image. If we come to the little drop down menu here, we can increase the thumbnail size, and you can see basically it's a selection where the black will hide the image and the white will reveal the image in the background. So now we can actually paint on this layer. So I'm going to grab my brush tool, we'll go to our brush types, and I'm just going to go to standard pen there. I'm going to go to my background here. I'm going to unlock it by clicking the little padlock across here on the right, and then I'm going to go to my foreground color. We'll change this nice pink, and then I'm going to go to Edit and Fill with Foreground Color, and you can see now we can start to see some of the areas of this image that we might want to modify a bit better. So I'm going to go back to my transparency mask. We can zoom right in, and you can see now with my black and white brush, I can just use this little black and white symbol to jump back to black and white. I can zoom in, come in even more, and I can start to brush in and work on some of that detail with a much smaller brush. So you can see up here where I've got a little bit of transparency in the hair, I can start to maybe reveal a little bit of that too. So there's some light shining through different parts of the hair. And we can modify and increase the size of our brush. And there aren't smart selection tools built into Krita. There are in Photoshop, so you'll need to work around those tools and kind of figure out what works best for you. If I come here, you can see these darker areas of the image. Just tweak that. can come in and again just modify some of those edges so that there's not some strange contrast right at the edge of the image. So I can just pick away at the image and I can always add it back in again. So I'm using the square brackets on the keyboard, so if I make a big mistake I can either do Command Z or I can switch my brush to white and then paint back in that selection and just keep working it up until I'm happy with the edges I've got. So you can see where I started originally. I missed a few of those edges. So we'll go to View and Zoom, Rotate and Mirror, and then we will go to View Height, and you can see now I've got a nice cutout, and I can go in and modify it more if I want to. I can see some spots in the hair here where I might want to adjust it. And again, a lot will depend on your background and what you're putting behind the image, but that is how to basically cut out an image with a transparency mask. So I hope it's a good overview of how to cut out an image. Obviously we've got our layers there, we've got our group, and if you do have any questions then please do get in touch.